Okay. So in this scenario, like if key doesn't exist, it will give error. But there are a lot of scenario you will see in future in upcoming problem, whatever we are going to discuss, where you need a default value. Suppose if key doesn't exist. So in that scenario, I have put like student dot get search for a subject. If it doesn't exist, uh, return the default value. Okay. Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to define this subject key. So the definition, so you when you wanted to add a new key with a existing dictionary, that's pretty easy. So student, again start with subject key, and I'll simply add key math. Okay. And if I run it, now if I'm going to see student, you see here subject has been added, math. So, so to add a method in a dictionary, add a value, key value pair in a dictionary is very easy. You can see here, you can simply put an assignment operator with a key and that value will be added. Now, let me quickly run this line again and let's see what result it will return. Now, the line number 11 have returned math. So the get works this way. If that key exists, return the value of that key, else return whatever the default value you will define here. Okay. So, okay. And suppose if I wanted to change it, the same subject, if I wanted to use a same key for other subject, let's say suppose this time I'm putting like suppose English. Remember this thing, if that key exists, it will override the value. Okay, so if I am going to run the student again, you see the value has been changed now. It is English now. So remember that if you are going to use the key which exists, remember that will change the value of that dictionary. If that key doesn't exist, it will add that. So what I'm trying to say here, suppose here, okay, so let me put this way. Okay. Suppose this. Okay. Now, if you see here, what I'm doing at very first line, I'm assigning subject a value A. Second line, I'm assigning B. Third line, I'm assigning C. Fourth line, I'm assigning D. And then I'm assigning teacher as a Maria. Okay. Let me run it. And if you see there is no problem, it ran fine. Let's see. The subject is D now. And teacher is added. Previously, there is no teacher in this dictionary. So remember this thing. If key exists, then it will override the value. So at very first time, if you see here, the subject was English. Okay. When I put subject was A, it was A. When I put subject was B, so A is override by B, then override by C, then override by D. And that's why you see subject is D, whatever this is the last. And teacher key doesn't exist here, right? And that's why when key will not exist and you will operate a assignment operation this way, that key will be added. But if you use any existing key, that value will be override. So that thing keep in mind. Okay.
Okay. So
Yeah.
sorry, I have a question. So what is a good example of when we should use the get code and when should we use the addition, the last thing you showed us? Because both ways you can add one key.
No, so get is actually to fetch it. Okay, so what I'm trying to say here. See, now suppose, so get as a name describe itself. Get means you are trying to get the value. Here I'm trying to put the value, not getting it. In this scenario, if you
but in get also, if the value does not exist, you can always assign it, right?
No, I'm not assigning it. Okay, so let's see. So suppose if I do teacher here, so what output you expect here if I run this?
Maria.
Obviously I'm getting it. I'm asking dictionary what is the value of a teacher here. Okay, if I come here and type class teacher, let's say this key doesn't exist there, correct? If I'm going to run, this will throw me an error. Okay, it throw me error because this key doesn't exist. So it's fine to use this fine, but suppose in few scenario you don't want your program to throw error, you want a default value. So suppose a scenario, uh, assign suppose teacher, suppose Atul to the class where class teacher is not assigned. Okay, so in that scenario if I do this student dot get, okay, now I'm getting it class teacher. Okay, and default value will be Atul. So what it will do, it will try to fetch a class teacher from this dictionary, that is a student. If that doesn't exist, it will return me Atul. Okay, so
that will not be added to the dictionary
no,
keys.
no,
Okay.
it is not added till now. So
Okay,
if I run
thanks.
this, yeah, if I run this will return me Atul. But if I'm going to run student, there is no class teacher added.
Okay, thanks.
Okay, that you can do. How you have to do it is this way. If you see here, this get operation, this is only getting it. It's not assignment. In that case, you have to put an assignment operator. How assignment will work is this way. Okay. Now this will do that magic, whatever you are expecting. What it will do, it will check first. So always in Python, first Python try to solve the right hand side equations. Okay. So come to the right hand side. What right hand side says, if a student have class teacher, then it's okay. Okay. Assign that class teacher value to class teacher. So that's the same value you are assigning it again, doesn't matter. So the value will not change. But if this key doesn't exist, then return me Atul. So the right hand side value will be Atul, and that will be a kind of assignment of it. So let me run it. And if I now type student, you see class teacher as Atul. Okay. Now I'm going to run the same line again, but this time here I'll say suppose Roy. Okay. The same scenario or a different thing. Here again, I'm doing the same thing. Solve the right hand side equation first. So first fetch what is the value of class teacher in this section in the dictionary. So it will search for class teacher. It will find Atul is there. So it will not go to Roy. It will simply say, so this expressions will translate to Atul. Okay. And this Atul will assign to class teacher. So if I quickly run this again, so there is no change. So here, if you see in this scenario, the key was not exist. So it will put a default value and then it will add also. Here key was existing. So it will use whatever dictionary will return. So get method is required to use when you wanted to return a default value. And that we will see quickly right now. We are going to see it very soon. So get is used there. You don't want to throw error. You wanted to return a default value. So let's say, suppose again, another example I'm taking. Suppose I wanted to know what is the address of a student, home address, suppose. Okay. Not this one, sorry. Suppose this. Obviously, address doesn't exist, so it will throw me error. It will, and my program, suppose if I write down this code within a program, my program will break, my program will fail by throwing this error, and it will not proceed further. It will simply say uh, uh, this error, it will simply throw this error. And obviously when I run program, I don't want to do that, I don't want to break my program. That's the idea behind programming. Okay, so how I can resolve this is this way: student dot get address, and then I'll say no address registered, let's say. Okay, in this scenario what will happen, it will give me a default value whatever I have. So you can say it's a kind of if else clause. Okay, if address exists, give me that address. If that doesn't exist, go for the default value. Again, this is not assigned to student. Okay, so it is not assigned, it returned me the default value. We can assign it, no doubt. How to assign it is this way: student, this way. This will do now two things. If address exists, it will return me the address. If that doesn't exist, it will create an entry in the dictionary and assign this value. Okay, so let's see, ran it and student, right? Now let's quickly assign some address to student. Okay, now address is updated. If I'm going to run the same line again, this line. Okay, so not this line exactly. I wanted to fetch only. I don't want to do a assignment operation. I wanted to fetch. I wanted to get address if it is exist. If it exists, return me the value. If it doesn't exist, return me no address is registered. And if you see now, student have an address. So if I run it, it will give me whatever the value is there. So dictionary use this, this get method used in all the scenario where a key doesn't exist, but you wanted to create a key if that doesn't exist and return you a default value. In that scenario, we use this kind of expressions where we use dictionary with the key and the get operator. Okay, if I'm going to simply do this, suppose student, let's say some random key ABCD, it will throw me error. And if I write down this thing somewhere in my program in between, my program will fail. My program will simply abort at this place as soon as it will not find a key. So it's a kind of if else conditions where you wanted to do this. If that doesn't happen, go for this. Okay, and that's why this get operator works. So as when you are 100% sure that key exists, follow this way. Okay, it's very easy way. But suppose when you are unsure, you wanted to populate a default value for a user, you will simply say this. Okay, so that's a way to do things. Now so that's the assignment operator in dictionary. And let's see the same thing we can write another way as well. Okay, so let me quickly pick some other key here. Let's say ABCD. Okay, and here's let's say ABCD is not registered, a random key. Okay, it will simply throw me this. We can write down the same line in Python a longer way. How to do that is this. So in dictionary, you can check a key existence as well. Okay, so we call it And this you can I think do in all the data type, which we call it existence check. And if you see, if you have gone through the previous one, uh, uh, these Jupyter notebooks, you have seen there why in and not in, how these works this way. So ABCD in student, it returns me false, right? If I say ADDRE address in student, it returns me true. The same way I can put a not in also. This will return. How this work? If the value exists, it will return true. If value exists, okay. And if it doesn't exist, it will return me false. True if value exists, else false. Okay. Not in actually reverse the whole logic. So whatever, so it is checking simple things. Is address defined in student? Sorry, if addressed not defined in student, and if you see student have address. Okay, so this obviously it is defined, so not in operator is there, so it will reverse the whole thing, so it will return me false. Means this statement is wrong. Address is defined. So this is the existence check. So the same thing, the get operation thing, how we can write, let's see. So if in dictionary, if this is the output, okay, in Python, a longer way, how you can write, if ABCD in student, okay, print ABCD, else print okay. So the same line, if you see here, and that's the beauty of Python, the same one single line, whatever one single line is doing, I can write the same thing in another way, but it's a longer way, a longer route. Behind the scene, Python also doing the same thing behind the scene. What it is doing, it is going to check ABCD key. If it doesn't exist, it will return me this. If it exists, it will return me the value. Okay, so let's before here, let me quickly assign a value to ABCD. ABCD, and let's say double line. Now student have some value. Let me run this line again. It returns me 99. And let me run this block as well. It returns me 99. Right? So the get method is very important. It's a one-liner statement. We call it in Python, if something we can put it into one line and it will do a multiple line work, we call them a one-line statement. So if you see here in proper way, it's a four line of code block, right? And we can write down the whole block into one line. Okay, so you have to think like whether you wanted to break means in some scenario you wanted to break your program if key doesn't exist. In some scenario you don't want to break your program. In that scenario, get works, always works. Okay, and this is how you check the keys whether that key exists or not, and you will see there are a lot of scenario where you have to check, okay, whether that key exists or not. If not, then do this, that kind of logical operations you have to do. One more thing quickly, let me come here. So student is like a combination of keys and values, as you can see. But if anyone is interested to know only what are the keys, so there is a method student dot keys. Okay, it will return me a list of all the keys. Okay, so you see this is a list actually. F name, L name, M name, age, class, school, subject. This is a list of all the keys. The same way, there is a function available, values. Okay. It will return me all the values of that dictionary. Okay. Adam, Ray, if you see, it's the right hand side. There is another function available called items. What it will return me? It will return me a list of tuples. Okay. So if you see here, the very first, this section, the very first piece, the very first value is actually a key. The second is value. So F name, Adam, L name, Ray, M name, nothing, age 15. So it will break down. So these values, these type of functions used a lot. So let's see how we can utilize them. So now I'm going to explain you traversing. Okay. How we have to traverse. For loop always works in traversing. Okay. So for, I can, let's say, key. Okay. Let me put key in and student, let's say, and print key. By default, it will return me all the keys. Okay. Now I wanted to know what is the value for a particular key. So can anyone suggest me how I have to, what I have to modify to get the value of that key as well? That will be done this way.
Student plus value.
Key plus what? Value?
Yes.
How you will fetch the value?
It will print it.
So you are saying, let's say, print key. Let me put comma and value. This will not.
Student dot value.
This way?
Yes.
No, this will. This is not the way you have to fetch the value, right? How you have to fetch the value in dictionary?
Get value.
Either you can use the get value operation, or you can use this square bracket, right? So either you do this, or you can do student dot get key. That will also work. Okay. So this is the one way. This is another way. There is another way as well. A simplify way. So rather than only fetching key here and then get key operation, what you can do, for key comma val is actually value. Okay. In student dot items, print key comma val. So what's it's doing? I'll explain. If I run this only, see what it returns. It returns a combination of key and value, right? Key value, then here key value, here key value, and all. So what I'm doing, so here it's returned me key and value, and I have assigned that key and value to two variables, one called key, one called val. And so the assignment happens here, and I'll simply print it here. without any issue. So all the methods are fine. Again, this is also fine, this is also fine, and this is also fine. It's you who have to see what way is easy for me to understand. Okay, so this is also good, this is also good, and this is also works fine. There is no problem, the same output is there. Okay, there is a one difference here when I'm doing items. Okay, at that time the Python is trying to get the dictionary in one go. So what's happening behind the scenes? Suppose student have 200 column, 200 keys, suppose. So what will happen when Python is going to translate this function behind the scene? What it will do? It will create this kind of list with all the values. So it will use more memory in the system, in the laptop. It will use more memory to store the longer list. But this way is better way. Why? Because it will fetch the value at runtime when the loop. So the for loop is always run in loop. Remember, for is actually a loop kind. So it will first fetch first key, then it will print it, then this operation will get the value for that key, then it will go again, it will fetch the second key, and in the print statement it will fetch the second value. So performance wise, if you go, this statement, this type of line is better than this. Okay, so the same thing, you can cook any food so many ways. Few are efficient way, few are longer way. Okay, so the thing is, the same program, the same thing, you can write two ways. But when you do the actual programming, when you write program for suppose a live system where you want a quick output with less time, you have to see how you can put your program which can respond better way, which will take less time. So for a smaller dictionary, so if I come and see how many keys are there, I think there are 4, 6, 9, and I think 11 or 12 keys are there. Then both time is okay. But if the dictionary is going to be huge, then this will create a problem. The response time will be delayed. So that's why then in that case, this scenario will work fine. Okay. So here, if you see, I didn't put a default value. Now I'm asking you one question and you will answer me. Do you think I should define a default value in this statement or not?
No, because it's a for loop, it's a finite thing. So if it does not exist, it will exit, the program will exit.
Correct. If I define it default value or do not define, that doesn't going to impact. The reason is I'm fetching key from the student. So obviously student have limited number of keys. It will return me only the keys which exist, right? So I'm damn sure here, like whatever the key I'm going to use, that is existing. That's why if you use, so that's why we avoid this way whenever we write down, because it's little better way to write it down this way. Okay, because here I know whatever the key is coming, that 100% exists in the dictionary. So if I don't use get, that will work perfectly. But yes, so that's how you have to traverse. But yes, if someone coming randomly and asking a random key, then you have to use a get. Okay, so let's see an example. Suppose this student is a dictionary behind the scene. Okay, and I wanted to write a quick program, a small program. So let's say name equal to input. Okay, enter the student name. Okay, I'm asking user to enter a student name. Then what I'm doing, I'm printing printing here. No, let me print this way for the student, not the student, yeah, a student name. So let me print here a student what I'm doing, if a student f name is equal to name print student. So it is asking what is the student name. Okay, so let's say I'll say AB. It will not return me because this if clause is breaking here, right? Because obviously AB doesn't exist. If I'm going to run again, and what is the name of our student is Adam. I print Adam, it will print the whole string thing. Okay, now let's see this thing. If I'm going to write here, I wanted to know if a student exists, suppose, and I wanted to know what a DOB of that student is having. Okay, if I do this, so if I write down, if I type Adam, one sec, let me break it down. Let me do one quick calculation here. Again, I'm just doing random thing here. So 2021 minus, and I'll explain what I'm doing here. Okay, AG. So what I'm doing here, let's see. Oh, sorry. Okay. Here I'm asking, please enter the student name. And obviously you will insert a name. If that name exists, so here I'm checking whether that name exists or not. Okay. If that name exists, go inside. Okay. Print the DOB. What is the DOB of that student? And then suppose calculate the age of that student. And then print that student their value. Okay, so let's see. Let me put Adam, and my program is broke here. Right, program is broke. The thing is because that key doesn't exist. In this scenario, when I wanted to give a default value, let's say. So suppose I wanted to give if key doesn't exist. So let me make it, comment it out, and let me print it again here. So Adam, then also failed. And if you see, Python highlight that line where it failed, right? Because in this section, it is trying to get that DOB of that student, and that DOB doesn't exist for that student. In this scenario, and my program broke here, it simply throws me an error. Okay, so, and I don't want to break my program. So what I am going to do in that case, I am going to use that get operation. So let's say I'll do get, give me the DOB. If suppose DOB doesn't exist, suppose I'll assume he was born in 1999. Suppose this is again random calculation. Okay, if I run this and if I run Adam, I'll get a value. That's 22. The reason is because this time, what happened? If DOB exists, it will return me that DOB. Otherwise, what it will treat, it will return it will assume like that student was born in 1999. Do the calculation, return me the age. Okay, so it's when you code it, it's our responsibility to think like, okay, what scenario is required here. Okay, so if I'm going to do here quickly, suppose student DOB. Okay, I'm going to assign a value. DOB equal to, let's say, 2000. Okay, if I'm going to run this now, I'm going to get what number I'll receive. I'll receive this time 21, because this time what happened? Student DOB exists, and student DOB is 2000. So if it exists, return me that value. If doesn't exist, return me 1999. So in this scenario, you have seen why get is somewhere required, and if we have to put get operator with a default value or not. So that's the logic where we have to work. We have to see, and the idea of every programming language is this: programs should not break. Suppose you are searching in Google, suppose you are searching any random thing in Google, and Google will break. Google say like, what you are entering, I don't know. Obviously you will not like Google search engine in that case. It should return a proper value. And that's why we do the error handling as well. That's why we write if else clause as well, right? So the same scenario, if this is a scenario, and someone have entered Atul, and it did not return me anything. As a user, I'll be confused. Like, what happened? Whether program ran or not ran, right? That's why we have to think a consumer perspective. Who is going to use that program? So in that scenario, I have to write a else clause as well. What this will say: print f student does not exist in database, right? Now, if suppose someone's entered Adam, he will return the age, okay? But suppose someone entered Atul, so it will return me a proper error, proper statement. By this, a user, whoever is using your program, it will have the understanding. Okay, what happened? Oh, Atul doesn't exist in the system, so I have to work with admin team. And that is why the idea behind every program, it should not break. So we have to code such a way, if else clause, and upcoming class we are going to see error handling as well. Okay, how to handle the error. So we will see that as well. So that's why you have, whenever you code, don't try to code as it is. I can write down very easy thing. I can write down the whole scenario, very simple manner. How to do that is this. Suppose if I simply say enter student name, and if I do not check this, then obviously it's a useless info in that scenario. It will give me some random value, any random user data that we don't want. So if any time user is trying to interact with the system, the program should handle all kind of data. That's our responsibility to code that way. So let's say if I ask the same line, enter the student age. Okay, the same program, I'm going to write it a different way. So let's say, sorry. Okay. And now I'm expanding, suppose our users program logic. Okay. So if f name is equal to name, okay. Now check if, okay. So again, it again depends. And this time I'm using a nested looping. So if that name exists, okay. Now check if student age exists or not. If it exists, so if I do this only, that means it will try to fetch that value. So that's a true statement. Okay, so if it exists, print f a student, here I type name, age is colon, let me put a double quotes because we are using single quotes in so let me put a double quotes here. Okay, so understand. Okay, so let's understand this section first. If that student exists, then check if age is there or not. If age is there, print the age. Else, coming here, else. Okay, else ask again. Ask again. What is now I'm asking age equal to input. Here I'll simply print a statement. Student age is not in database. Here I'm asking enter the student age colon. Okay, when it will be entered, I'll do an assignment. Student age equal to, and remember age is always an integer. So I should not say simply age. I should convert it an integer value. Okay, and then I can, okay, so that else part is done, and else I'll simply say whatever I was saying here. Okay, so let's see how this works. At very first time when I running it, it is asking enter the username. As soon as I print any name, it will at very first time, at very first level, in the first statement. So that's why I'm saying Python works based on the indentation. Okay, so for this if, this else is there. For this if, this else is there. So understand that as well. So as soon as it checks whether string exists or not, it doesn't exist, so it will print this statement. Now run it again. Let me print Adam. And so if check Adam, so it came inside this block. Okay, and then it checks that whether student age exists. So obviously our dictionary have a age value 15. It exists, then print what is the age. Okay, if that doesn't exist, then ask for the age. Okay, so let me put a random value here just to break my code. Okay, so what will happen now? This xxxx doesn't exist. Okay, so let me run it again. Enter the student name Adam, and it broke here. Okay, that means my code is not perfect. Okay, so I have to translate this a different way. How I can do that? The in clause, if you remember. This is the better way. This is the best way. Now I'm going to run it. Let's say Adam. Now it says, because it is checking xxxs. I know this is wrong, but I just wanted to demo you. So it's saying that, okay, that doesn't exist. Then the if clause is gone. It will shift to else part. So else part print student age is not in database. That's what you see here. And then you see another input, enter the student age. So it is asking enter the student age. Let me print it, suppose 99 and enter. Okay. So the value has been entered in student. So if I check now student age, it's 99. Right. So it's our responsibility. So now we have seen dictionary, if clause, else clause, how we have to fetch the data, how we can kind of manage the error. If this is the scenario, if this is not the scenario, what to execute. If this is the scenario, what to execute. So if clause, else clause, if, so that first way. So now we are, as soon as like we are progressing, we are combining things together. And we are creating a more descriptive program which can do a lot of things. So so this is a one example. you can do a lot of stuff. So we have seen the assignment, and we can, so there are few more methods. Remove method is there as well. So what it will do, remove method, it will remove a particular key. Okay, so if I'm going to, oh, one sec, I think that was a del. Yeah, it was a del. So now if you see, age is gone. If I put del dob, run again, running again, dob is gone. Okay, so that's the one way to delete a particular key from a dictionary. You have seen already reassignment. You can reassignment with a different value. There is another method.
So Atul,
yeah.
can you not use the pop like you used in
yes,
list?
Correct. You can. That's where I'm coming. You can use a pop as well. So let's say ABCD this time. Okay, and if I run check here now, pop is gone. Okay, so the pop is also can be used. You have seen so assignment is done, deletion is done. So you can delete either this way or this way. Both are fine. There is no problem. This is a more Pythonic way. We call it. This is a more crude way. So we usually don't prefer it. But yeah, this is a way, but this is a better way. Like pop that particular key. Suppose I wanted to pop address. So the difference, understand the difference here. It simply did not return anything. It did not tell me what it has deleted. It simply deleted. Here it will tell me what I have deleted. So if I suppose pop address, it will return me 200 corner. That means it will tell me like I have deleted this value from this. So let's say suppose print, and I'm quickly going to explain this scenario. Print if I copy this, and I write value for key teacher. Okay, now I wanted to know, suppose the values. Well, I'll do this. Here I write teacher has been deleted, and I'm missing something. I think that's good. Okay, now the benefit of that pop method is this. Okay, so what it will do, it will delete the teacher as well. It will easy for us to like what value has been deleted. So if I check here now, student, the teacher is gone. That is not possible with the del command, because del command doesn't return me anything. Del command will simply return it, simply delete it. That's why in like in programming areas, we don't prefer del. We always prefer pop. Okay, and so there are a few more methods. Let me
add another question regarding this. In dictionary, can you have a key without a value?
A key without a value? Yes, you can have, and I think we have.
Okay.
Yeah, you can have a value. You can have a key without a value, but the reverse is not possible. Okay, means a value without a key, that is not possible. So this is a one way. The another way I'll quickly show you. Suppose so we have seen there is a subject, only one subject, right? And dictionary support any kind of data type as a value. So what I'm trying to say here, obviously no student have only one subject. So student subject or subjects actually, or here key subjects will say subject only. You can assign a dictionary, whole dictionary. Whole list. Okay, if I run this and if I run student, so key is subject, and obviously no student have one subject, so you can assign a list as well. Even you can assign a dictionary as well. So how the dictionary will work, let's say, so suppose student address, though you can write down like this 200 corner 200 corner Wellesley Street, East Toronto, on Canada. This is the one student, right? Address 200. This is, but the problem is here, suppose if I wanted to know what street he is living on, that's little difficult, because if you see street doesn't exist. So there is another way to write it down. How to do that is this. You can create a dictionary of this string as well. How you can create is this way. So let me comment it out here. Create a dictionary, curly braces. Here I'll write address. So what we call it, the very first address, we call it address 1, right? Address 1 colon. The value of address 1 is suppose 200 corner. Then street colon, that will be Wellesley Street East. Then suppose city, that will be Toronto. Okay, and province on. Okay, ignore my spelling mistakes. Okay, so suppose this is done. Now if I going to see here student, and if you see the student address section, it is another dictionary. So suppose if anybody wanted to know ADDRASS, so this is a dictionary within a dictionary. Okay, and if anybody wanted to know what street that student is living, it's easy to fetch, right? So dictionary can hold any data type. It can hold integer, a string, a float, a list, a dictionary, tuples. So it can store any kind of data type. It depends what you want. Okay, so you can design your dictionary that way, and it will work flawlessly. Let me quickly open. So we already discussed about creation, discussed about key value. We already checked about how to change the value, change the value. We already discussed get methods. Okay, basic things like the length of a dictionary is actually the number of values, number of keys in a dictionary that will work with the len operation. Okay, del we already discussed, pop we already discussed. You can delete all item with the clear. So if you run like employee.clear, it will delete everything with the within a dictionary. We already checked about in operator, like how in works. Duplicate we work with a copy. So if you wanted to create a duplicate of a dictionary, you can use it. Iteration we have seen via the for loop, means the traversing actually. So call it traversal. Okay, so that's a traversal, how you can traverse through. And this is a very simple example to word counter. Check out to build a word counter. I'll take 5 more minutes to quickly explain this function and how this will work. So the ask was, this is a sentence and this is a few lines of a statement. Okay, now I wanted to know how many words are there and how many times they have occurred. That's the simple ask. Okay, so this is called word counter. Okay, word counter. So what I have done here, if you see word counter, I have created a variable creating an empty dictionary. Then if you remember, we can create a list by using a split function. Okay, so suppose this is a sentence, I can split it, it will give me a list. Then what I'm doing, if you see here, I know it's little complex, but try to understand it. I'm looping through that words list. So for word, W in words, then what I'm doing, I'm using, if you remember, there is a lower operation in a string. So what it do, it will simply lowercase the word. So suppose this is a list where capital letter is L and then IST, it will make it a small L and then IST. So it will lower the case. So lower casing the word to remove the case differences. And here, this is the example where I'm counting. So if you see here, I'm using word counter dot get W. Check whether that word exists in the dictionary. If it doesn't exist, return 0. If it exists, then return whatever the value is there and then do +1. Okay, so when I run this, if you see, it returns me list comes 6 times, all comes 6 times, processes comes 5 times, state comes 2 times, off comes 2 times, age 9 times in this sentence. Okay, and these are the scenarios where we prefer get method to have a default value. So what it is doing here, at very first time, when suppose a very first time word comes, obviously at that time that doesn't exist in the list, that doesn't exist in the dictionary. So it will return 0 very first time. So 0 + 1. So now the dictionary have, suppose, so let me quickly give the example here. Suppose A comes first time, very first time. So value doesn't exist. So it will give me 0 + 1. So it will be equal to 1. The next time when A will come, so get will return 1. And then +1 again, this +1. So now the value for A means A dictionary will be 2. Again, if it came, so it will be 2 + 1, it will become 3. And that's why you are seeing process come 4 times, in comes 4 times, jobs comes 5 times. So that's so this is called word counter. So dictionary is, so we are using a dictionary and we are populating a simple word counter from that dictionary. Okay, so this is a small quick example which you can see here. Okay, so yeah, so this is the one thing. So that's dictionary. I think we will cover sets in next session. That's a small one, but this is a dictionary. So I'll upload this notebook on Git. Go through with that, and next time we will see. Now we will move more of a programming where we are going to utilize all these functions, data types to do some actual work. Okay, so yeah,
Could you please upload or send an email how to get to that Git notebooks, because I had difficulty reaching there.
Oh, so okay, so I'll send that. No issue. So I'll share the link. No problem.
Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. Okay, so let me